Hello, welcome back to Music at the Dub. For those of you who don't know, I'm your host, Logan Sasser, and on this show, I have real conversations with musicians about their life, their music, and everything in between. Before we start, I want to shout out another Hawkstream podcast called Talk Hollywood to Me, the show hosted by Sierra McLean, where she talks about the stories and relationships in Hollywood that have given the industry its absurd and fantastic reputation. Wow, what a wonderful sound to hear, dude. Some classic Outcast through a violin.
Sweet.
You know, back in the day, maybe nobody even thought to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure Andre 3000 was thinking about that.
Yeah, Andre 3000 is kind of a genius.
Yeah, of course.
So, and he's still around today, which is like crazy. You know,
The ATL.
yeah, he's expected to drop some new music pretty soon here.
Oh.
He released like some very, very jazz-inspired songs last year, two of them. I forget what they're called, but they're just like these big, beautiful ballads that he composed.
Oh,
It's a pretty crazy thing. But yeah, I got David Scott here with me. Thank you for coming, man.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me,
appreciate it. This is the first episode of the show this season. I took a break last semester because I wasn't here at UNCW, so I'm really glad to be back and have such a talented musician here.
Welcome back.
To help me out with this, you know?
Of course.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself to let the audience know who you are while you're here.
Sure. My name is David Scott. My team's here with me. We're coming from Bull City, North Carolina.
Represent.
Originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm a contemporary violinist. I trained classically with the concertmaster of the North Carolina Symphony growing up. But the real story is I've had 4 open heart surgeries, a host of mental health challenges, and kind of grew up in the hospital. And music has always been the catalyst for my recovery, 100%. From my 16-year-old breakups to having my chest ripped open, music has been the catalyst to regain my mind, my heart, mind, and soul, you know? So I'm here. We recorded a new album called The Melody Valve, and it's probably going to be called The Universe Gave Me a Melody. I received a melody valve. It's a valve made by Medtronic from Duke in 2017. And the last 2 years, I guess 3 years now, we've been recording the hip-hop concept album. So I'm here to talk about that, and then also kind of my work with Music Over Mind, bringing music to hospitals and clinics and across the state. We actually had an intern program here with the social work program here at UNCW. So.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, I had no idea about that. So when was your last open heart surgery that you had?
Yeah, so I guess, in 2017, I went back to Duke for my checkup, and the late Brenda Armstrong, who is a legend, she passed away last year, but she was, I think, the first African-American cardiologist to graduate in America for peds. She was just a legend. She was practicing for decades. I was actually, I think, her oldest patient in the peds department at Duke Hospital. So she told me, look, 2017, your ventricle is massive.
What does that mean?
So the ventricle is one of the lower chambers in the heart.
Okay.
So it's massive because it's working really hard. And also my aorta which is the big tube going into the heart, is also massive.
Which is not good, right?
Not good.
Okay.
No, I have a big heart. You know?
No.
I have a big heart. So my heart's massive, and I had 4 open heart surgeries up to this, and each surgery had major complications. It was really scary. So she said, you're going to have another one, right? And I had a 2-year-old. She's 4 now. And I had just gotten married, and I was like, oh man, is there any other way? Because I don't think I'm going to make it out of this one. And she said, no, we got to do it. So she called me the next day, and I was laying in bed because I was napping all day because I just couldn't.
Yeah, it took
I had
a
no
lot out of
energy.
you.
Yeah, I had no energy. And she said, my doctor said we have a solution. And there's actually a valve called a melody valve, which is like, that's God right there. I was
Yeah,
like,
very fitting.
let's go. Like, let's go. I'm a musician. And she said, we could put a melody valve in through your leg, through a catheter, and we'll balloon your artery, put stents in, pop the valve in, and then we're out. So I was like, let's go. And then while I was in the hospital bed, I was like, I got to do an album about this. This is amazing. I woke up and I said, when are they going to do it? And my wife's like, we're already done.
Yep.
And then they're like, hey, I was
Anesthesia,
like, I got to
dude,
use the
it's crazy.
bathroom. I got to use the bathroom. And they're like, go ahead, walk to the bathroom. Where the surgery took months of recovery
Yeah.
and complications, now took one stitch. And there's a song in the album called One Stitch. It took one stitch, and I was gone the next day.
That's crazy, dude. I actually had a catheter put in for a heart surgery. I had Wolff Parkinson's white disease when I was like 12, 13. And basically what happens is anytime I would do some sort of physical exercise, my heart rate would spike immediately up to above 300 BPM.
Wow.
Which is super dangerous.
Yeah.
When your heart is doing that, it doesn't actually pump any blood,
right?
Because it doesn't have time
for
the blood to get into it.
Right.
So, and it happened a couple times before it was like really a problem. And actually, I was a kid, and so I was telling people about this, and they were just kind of like, "Oh, you're just overreacting. You're a kid, whatever." And my parents put the like a heart monitor on, like one of the watches that read your heartbeat.
Yeah.
And it was over 300, and immediately they were like, we got to go to the
hospital.
hospital.
Yeah.
So I went, and they diagnosed me with that, which basically is like there's a bunch of, I'm sure you know a lot about the heart from all this electrical circuitry in there, and one of it was out of place, and they kind of
can reset it
and reset it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And the surgery, that's the only real surgery I've ever had, and I'm sure that's nothing compared to open heart surgery.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Pretty legit scar.
Yeah, that's legit, dude.
Legit, dude.
So, do they go in the same place for every surgery?
I mean, they try, but they're not really good at tracing. So each time it got a little bigger.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. But it's
a badass scar though.
It's badass. Yeah, but as a kid, I would be like, I'm in the line at a surfboard, like not surfboard, a diving board,
Oh yeah,
and the kids are like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I got a shark attack." So
that's really cool. So you're saying that music is kind of your saving grace throughout your life, rather it be with your health complications or your young love life, as we all go through when we're little teenagers.
Right.
I was wondering, did you develop a passion for music before you even had the capability to go through these problems? Like when you were 3 or 4 years old? I know you mentioned before we started recording that your dad was a musician in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just wondering what that connection comes from.
Like where it
when
came
you're younger.
from?
Yeah.
Well, so when I was a young, young student, 10, 11 years old, I was writing dynamics.
What is dynamics?
Dynamics is loud or soft, right?
Okay.
Like loud and soft,
yeah.
So it's the flux of like the change of the sound. So I was writing dynamic markings as a youth, and I had a passion for music, but there was something else in me that was driving this 100%, and I can see it now. So I went to Villanova, I went to college, studied philosophy, and the reason why I chose that path too is because philosophy and music, like I'm trying to explain something, this feeling I have, right? This belief I have. And the reason why I have this feeling and belief is because of my experience and circumstance, my perspective, like my soul, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always been questioning why. Like, so as a third grader, I think third grade was the youngest surgery. No, preschool. So as a preschool and having major open heart surgery, you're going to click different.
Yeah,
right?
and
so,
you don't even have the mental capacity to recognize what's going on at that age.
No, it's basically, it was like growing up with it is like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to
This
work.
is just normal.
Where this is normal. We're going to the hospital. Boom. I never questioned. I was never scared. It was like my job to do, and I was courageous as a kid. It wasn't till this last surgery, when I'm an adult, when I'm like, of the
Sketching
world.
out. Yeah.
I'm of the world. I'm like, I'm a man now, and they're like,
Yeah.
I have a daughter, and they're like, well, like, I'm not doing this. There's no way I'm gonna have this surgery because I'm terrified now as an adult, where like as a kid I never was scared, right? But I still had this thing where I was thinking about life and about being something more than just like, oh, I'm doing my 9 to 5 or going to work, going to school. Like there was always something more. But that same energy always propelled me to do great things, So, and Mike, my DJ here, he'll attest. When at the shows, sometimes I get so into it, and I'm like yelling over the mic, like, "You only have one life. You only have one life." And I'm like yelling these like,
and everybody's on the audience like,
yeah.
That was 3 years ago. It's over.
Because I'm get so passionate. I'm so passionate, and
that's important to have when you're trying to make it into music, though, especially nowadays when anybody could pick up a computer. It doesn't even have to be an instrument anymore. You just pick up a computer, get an account on Splice, throw a couple samples together.
I mean, we all do it.
Could do that shit.
We all do it.
And so it's important. I think that is a really big thing that differentiates people that make it and don't make it is their passion for it. Because regardless of how passion connects to how dedicated you are to something, the audience can feel if you're passionate about something.
And so the question for every musician, every person on this planet is like, where are you gonna get passion from?
Yeah.
I had a built-in protocol for like, my passion was my health. My passion was the mystery of life upon me when like I have to earn it now.
Would you say that your parents kind of provoked you in a certain direction towards music, or in a certain direction to just discover your passion?
No, that like I was always the leader. Yeah, my parents, I was raised free. They never really put anything on me. Maybe they felt bad that they were troubled, like, man, our kid is suffering.
Yeah.
But they always made sure I was free. And now, like, yes, it was never a question of David has to find his passion. I mean, by the time I was 11 or 13, I was playing my violin at Carnegie Hall. I was playing for the White House, as a youth. So like I had the passion of the music. I was president of my high school, I was driven. But now as an adult, I'm like, how do I figure out how to craft this or organize this passion to make money for my family, right? That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you're younger, you can follow a passion all you want, but when you're an adult, you got to make ends meet.
Right.
And I definitely don't think that should come as a sacrifice to your passion, but sometimes, depending on what it is, you have to put, the needs of your family before a passion. So like on one hand, you got to make money for your family, but on the other hand, you got this like overwhelming desire to do something. And it's not even necessarily music. It could be music, sports, whatever it may be. And it takes a lot of time management to figure out how to propel yourself to where you want to be.
Well, like for me, the biggest thing when I went full-time musician, what I found was organization, optimization, like all these like buzzwords that business people use, like that just gets you closer to God. Think of Perfect Love. Like he is so organized, Why do you think they put pillars across all the government buildings, So organized, the complete optimization, like so clean, so crisp, like we want everything to be fresh, Got that Gucci sponsorship coming, like that's what we want. But there is something to that, what? And the big thing like when I went full time, starting to realize this is like, I got to clean my room, I got to clean my house, I got to clean my house. And then my house is clean. And my dad has always said this: you have a clean house, clean room, clean mind.
My parents have also said that
always. But that's extending like, that like that. I could talk all day, and I want more of that. And that when people say money's evil, no, like organization and all that process, time management, all that stuff. God's a mathematician, that is just having order and like, you can go deeper and deeper, and that's exponential growth. That's the eternal structure of the laws of the universe, So.
Yeah. So speaking about time management and that kind of stuff, I know that music isn't your only avenue. I know that you have a sort of nonprofit called Music Over Mind. Is that
Bingo.
correct?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So to a little beginning of that was, I guess, how do I start this? 12 years ago, I had a psychosis. So I had a mental break where I think it was really from, I just graduated college. I guess it was 2006, around then. My girlfriend just broke up with me, so I was heartbroken. And then I had a GI bleed, some mysterious GI bleed. And I said, no, Mom, I'm going to handle it on my own. I'm going to deal with all this hospital stuff on my own. So with that GI bleed happening, and then my girlfriend dumping me, it just flipped.
Snapped,
But really, it was probably all of the surgeries my whole life, which I never confronted.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is what we do. I'm good. And then in a blink of an eye, I was changed. I was just changed. And I had psychosis, and I completely lost every memory. I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak because I was so fearful.
How long did that last?
Years. Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was very serious. But you know what? But the trick was, and what happened too, I saw my hands for the first time. I woke up, and I actually been studying. I became what the Bible says, born again Christian. I became born again. Like I was like an infant all over again. It was insane. So literally, and so the doctors diagnosed me, and said you had psychosis, but the one thing that never died. So it says when you die, everything's burned in the fire, and the only thing that remains is love. So the one thing that did not die was that memory of that passion and that drive and that love in the sky, that one spot that I could just remember. And so since 2006 to 2020 is just getting back to that one spot, because it's up there. I knew what love was, and I'm just making it back there. From as an adult, I couldn't speak. I was totally fearful. I was like an infant all over again. So, but music got me there. I danced, I sang, I played my violin to regain my voice to do this. That's why you see the salsa group, the people that are joining, if there's a new salsa group, they can't really dance. Give them a year, they're just killing it on the dance floor. 10,000 hours, you're a pro.
Yeah, that's with anything. I mean, obviously, people are born with talents, but you put in the work to just about anything. You
can do whatever you want.
Get there, man.
Whatever you want. Yeah, talent gets you so far. So I started. So music got me to. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing really good. 5 years ago, I couldn't speak. Now I'm producing. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm speaking. I'm playing. So I was like, I want to let people know about that music healed me. So I started this organization called Music Over Mind. I gathered a team of people from my high school who still believed in me, because they saw what I did before and they knew my story. A lot of people knew my story. I lost a lot of friends. So I started this organization, 501c3, nationally recognized nonprofit, and we went to adolescent clinic where they have 8 kids just completely on these antipsychotics, and they have ADD, and it was just a really, really tough situation. And we did a concert there. It was out in this area, actually, out up just north of here, I think New Hanover County or something.
Yeah.
And we were so moved by the impact of that performance. We're like, we have to do this. We have to organize this. So we did, and we started doing concerts in Butner, which is the state psychiatric hospital. Currently, I'm in UNC every single week with a program called Door to Door, and I play bedside and neuro and cardiology. I go into retirement homes every day, Alzheimer's units, dementia units. So music is the medicine, right?
Yeah. So how does being around all these, on one hand, you have troubled youth in places. On the other hand, you have people that are dealing with physical and mental problems in the hospital. Mm-hmm. How does that affect your spirit? How does that, because there's a lot of different ways to kind of process that kind of stuff, especially when you're around it all the time.
So for me, it's the same approach. Like going into the hospital every day, I'm praying. You know, I'm the breath in my lungs. Like I just affirmations and prayer and meditation on the way in. I'm preparing the energy I have, my spirit. Like I'm preparing to go in, and then when I'm there, it's all tough love. I'm like, let's do this. Let's spread the power of like healing through music. And I have empathy and compassion, you know, and maybe not as much sympathy, but empathy for sure. But it's not like I don't for a second go, oh, like I'm sorry.
Because they don't want to hear that most of the time. You know, they don't want people to feel pity. They don't want to feel
you
less.
got to be like, let's go. It's kind of like boot camp. You know, like oh, you, like if you stay here, we're gonna die. Get up, let's go.
Yeah.
And really, my parents, when I had my psychosis, at first they were kind of like babying me a little, and I was like, this is not helping me. I need tough love. And I need someone to like kick me in the butt to like motivate me to get out of bed, you know, and just not give up, you know. You can't give up. So that's my approach, you know. But sometimes it's pretty heavy, you know, for the playing violin in these settings, but it's worth it, you know, changing lives.
Yeah. So when you're doing, you do a lot of different kinds of shows.
Mm-hmm.
You just said you go play bedside at hospitals with Door to Door, and then you helped going and playing a show for those youth. Mm-hmm. And you're doing shows at breweries right now. You're on a tour in North Carolina. Are there other states that you're going to as well, or is it just NC
so
right now?
2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks, Mike? We're in Charlottesville, North Carolina, at the Millers downtown where Dave Matthews got his start.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I was up there like 5 years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna play here one day. And it was nuts. Like we crushed it, and it was all like classic hip hop, you know.
That's what I was about to ask. Is how do you tailor your shows? Because I know that you kind of do 3 different sort of acts. You have taking a request live, right? Which is where people just come up to you and kind of are like, "Here's a song, can you play it?"
Yep.
And then you play more classical music, and then your original stuff.
It's a little bit more. So I do taking requests live, which is like just that they tell me what they want to hear, and I do classical, so I do weddings for all you ladies about to get married. Look me up, davidscott.bandzoogle.com.
Plug yourself in.
David Scott Violin, right? So I'm on Facebook. I do weddings. I've been doing weddings for over 20 years.
A lot of people get into their first music kind of gigs doing weddings.
Totally.
So
it's good money, you know.
Yeah.
So I do weddings, but I can do fiddle. I can play a mean fiddle. So I do jazz. So cool. I actually play with Shelley Markham right now, who used to arrange for Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
He's the cream of the crop. He's teaching me a lot about changes. You know, I love him so much. He's awesome. And he's in Durham, and we're doing big things right now. Our show at March 7th at GPAS, our first ticketed event in a long time, is going to take us from Shelley Markham. It's like a jazz standard thing, to Autumn Brand, who's also a pop violinist. She's in the band New Revelry, who's awesome. And then I'm going to come in and do hip-hop violin. So I do a lot of hip-hop violin. I played on multiple albums. I also pretty nasty with production and like engineering. And I did the hip-hop album, the Melody Valve. And I also have like over 3 hours, over 100-song catalog of original music, from pop to indie to like classical to, you know, everything. So, whatever you want. I'm a session player. A lot of people hit me up for session work.
Cool. So when you say hip hop violinist, can you give me some examples of some songs?
So knock them out. Just start listing songs, Mike. I don't know. Go ahead. Okay, so we could do whatever you want. I love Dr. Dre.
Classic.
Da Baby, you know, we're gonna hit that tonight. Those TikTok songs too, we hit those.
Yeah.
I really like that new the Godzilla, the new Eminem. I haven't
heard too much of that.
We heard it.
It's killer.
It's killer. Yeah. We're gonna do that tonight, and I haven't played it yet. So all these songs, I could just give me 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I play guitar, but learning things by ear is kind of difficult for me still.
So So I will say, learning by ear. So I teach my students how to play by ear. I have a couple like 8-year-olds that are just killering out on the violin.
Really cool.
And what we do is like submersion stuff. So we put on a speaker that's going to be louder than your violin, and then it's a process of just encouraging in discovery on your fingerboard, and the whole time you're grooving. The rhythm is the foundation. You never stop the groove. If you stop the groove and think about what you're going to play, you've already lost it.
Yeah.
And that's what 99% of people do.
Yeah, I heard a quote. Man, I wish I could remember where it came from, but it was a quote from a musician saying, the second I start thinking is the second that I stop playing good music.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember. It was a guitarist. It may have been John Mayer.
We play John Mayer.
Really
He's
sure.
actually on the playlist for tonight. I don't know if Mike's going to play in my playlist.
Mikey Bones is
Mikey Bones on the 1s and 2s. Yeah.
So you've been creating music and composing music, you said, since you were around 12 years old, right?
Maybe not composing, but at least working in that area. Yeah.
So before that, obviously, you were playing violin
Uh-huh.
and everything like that. So how does playing an instrument and composing full songs, how does that differ? Because obviously you can play an instrument all you want, but composing a full song, like you say, you've been getting into producing and stuff like that, is a whole different animal. And we talked about the idea that it takes 10,000 hours to be good at something, which it seems like you got from playing the violin. How many years have you been playing the violin?
32 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole lifetime.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
well, hopefully not.
10,000
Hopefully we can double that.
Yeah, I mean, we all hope so, right?
Yeah. But the process, I get that every interview I get asked. People want to know the process. Watch out, because I crush. The whole time, and even in this interview, I haven't lost count. I'm just counting. Yeah. So my rhythm is going, and that's the foundation. So whatever you hear on top of this count will be.
You got me bobbing my head.
No, you
now,
have
dude,
to.
Just looking at
You have to. Yeah, and that's the time, So
Yeah.
I don't know. So before, when I was younger, when I was cool, I could just fit. I could fit I could sit in a way, where all my words would come off with the form, right?
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
would just
yeah.
come off that. And now my body is so broken that I can't do that anymore. So now I just got to count. I'm not counting. I'm just I don't know what's the word, grooving. Yeah, I'm just grooving. Yeah, so just feeling the flow.
Cool. And that's the start of everything.
Yeah, that's the foundation. If you feel the beat, then what's next? So the beat, the bass.
Drums, bass.
Yeah,
Sometimes guitar.
Yeah,
and
so
then everything else.
Yeah, so what I could do is do a guitar, so I could do the last song I did. I had this guitar riff, and I was just jamming for about 5 minutes, and I was just grooving and just jamming, and it was dirty guitar, and then I was just strumming 5 minutes, and then I went in and chopped up the best parts.
Yeah.
So then I chopped it and I looped it to fit a form of a 3-minute song, and it had key changes, right? You have intro, 3 parts, repeat, 3 parts, and an outro.
Do you have any background on music education?
No, not through college, but the thing is, the trap music is killing me, man. They're not doing the form. So what we're gonna do, Shelly and I are gonna come up with a trap album. We're gonna change the game, because we're gonna have changes
I'm waiting
in
for
the
it.
trap. It's gonna be so
I'm
dope.
waiting for it.
So, but they're killing the music, man. You got just listen to Elton John, listen to Billy Joel. These, with the changes, you need it. The very least, if you don't have an intro and outro, you need a verse, chorus, bridge.
Yeah.
Maybe a pre-chorus.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the form, and where you could get this. The universe is happening as a map. You move, I move. Just learn to follow. So it's a map. You just follow it. But then the beautiful thing about humans is we have ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hear a melody in your head, and you're grooving. You're like da da boo da 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 da. I just followed the map there, right? So I do the guitar part, and then I do the drum part, coinciding with every strum, and then I had the bass and strings and vocals.
It's interesting
You
that
know.
you talk about a structure because when I think of hip hop music, and it seems like you're a fan of hip hop music.
Yeah, I love hip hop.
When I think of hip hop throughout, because I'm also a big fan. I'm actually taking a class right now called The Theory and Practice of Hip Hop, and learning about the origins of breakdancing, graffiti, everything
Ninth
like
Wonder
that.
in Durham teaches that
Dude,
course.
I know. Ninth
You gotta
Wonder.
come up there, man.
Represent,
Shout out to
man.
Ninth Wonder.
Shout
Come
out to
on,
Ninth
come on.
Wonder.
DM me, Ninth. Come on, let's go.
NC's really been getting on the map for
Dude, J.
for music.
Cole, the baby, like
Rhapsody. I'm pretty sure. Is
Josh
from
Gunn,
NC
G.
too.
Yamazawa, Bull City. Let's go. Kane Smigo. Dude, North Carolina is on fire, dude.
Yeah, and it's been up there for a while. I read an article back from 2015 or around that time, maybe 14, 16, that was posted in some national blog site or newspaper talking about how historically there's been 3 central hubs for music. It's L.A., New York, Atlanta. And Atlanta, and that's about it, you know. In Atlanta, you got nowadays you got like Migos, Gucci Mane.
What about Ben Hameen in Atlanta? Collective efforts. They're no longer a group. They're positive hip hop. They were my jam though.
Word. But now, so this article was saying that NC is kind of coming up like that in the last couple years. You know, obviously with Ninth Wonder, who's a absolute legend. Anybody that knows something about hip hop knows
Threat,
about Ninth
like
Wonder.
Jay-Z. Yeah, he did that beat. That beat is we gotta do
Crazy,
that one.
dude.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Money in the mattress.
Yeah, so it's North Carolina is a good place to be right now for music.
Yeah, it's the pines, man. It's the waters, their soil, you know.
But I was saying, I think that historically, especially in hip hop, the biggest changes have come from when people challenge the idea of structure, and they do something completely new. And especially people like Outkast, Tribe Called Quest,
I love that.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that's good.
They all do, and they have a structure to a lot of their songs, but some of the most memorable moments of those people for me are the songs that challenge the idea of structure and go against the grain and do it well. Because you could do that and have it come out like really not good, and then you can do it and have it do it well, and that's kind of what separates the legends, you know.
Yeah. So a big thing is what I noticed is that, because I was in the same boat for a long time, and a lot of my older music doesn't have changes, but people just don't know how to do the changes.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand it at all. So like we're grooving.
There's a science behind it for sure.
Of course, but like also like you could just look the other way.
That's true.
Like change your perspective. So it's like up here, down there.
Yeah.
Up here. Like that's 3 changes. Like boom, boom, boom. That's a triangle. Like and really the changes with pitch and key, like it's gotta happen. No, like why aren't people doing that? They get a 4-bar loop. 4-bar loop, and they think they could just build like pop. Like pop gets the masses because the masses like they're simple. They're simple.
Yeah,
you know
stuff. So how are you? The last thing I want to talk about is this new album that you're coming out with.
Oh yeah.
So how are you incorporating that idea of perfecting the changes and that kind of stuff into your new album?
So the new album's really cool, and it's basically like a motivational piece telling a story. The inventors of the valve, we're actually talking to them. We're hoping they're going to sponsor us.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, it'd be
especially
huge.
if you can get some kind of intermission where they just do a little.
And Medtronic, we love you. Please pick us up. You know, we're doing we have a proposal. We're going to send them on Monday. You know, it's going to be good. So we're praying, you know, that they pick it up. But we want to do a global tour. We want to do a global tour of the album, I think, and we want to be a spokesperson for it. You know, I've spoken to over thousands of people about mental health, about empowerment through music, you know, and the next step would be to like do that tour on a global, or do a tour of the album on a global stage, you know. So, and also I will say 70% of patients in cardiology don't follow up, and especially the ones getting the valve. So we're hoping to partner with the American Heart Association and like, you know, spread the message that it's cool to follow up, you know, like follow up with your cardiologist.
Yeah, it's important.
You know, you have this miracle and then you feel great, so you're not thinking about it, but like you got to take care of yourself. So,
yeah. So when is this album coming out? Does it have a release date yet?
We're going to put the ball in Medtronic's court. It's done. Album's done.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting to hear.
Yeah, but we're going to put the ball in their court. So
Okay,
Come on, guys.
cool. Well, can you play me a song for the album before you get out of here?
Yeah.
I'd love for the people to hear it. Give
yeah,
them a little
so-
taste of what's coming.
I'm gonna play a song called "Preparation," and this is So remember, I said I was so scared. I was so scared to have the surgery. So I told my doctor, and they actually referred me to this like meditation that's like visual meditation that they like practice this for every single night. So I did this pretty much like all day for like a month. So this song's called "Preparation." I'll play it out. So check it out. It's just a hook. There's not a lot of changes in it, but. Crushing all adversity, mind belief. Visualizing what I would do, living still have to prove.
Well, thank you for coming out, man. I really appreciate it. Everybody, this has been David Scott. It was wonderful to talk to you and hear about your experience, man. It's really inspiring, and I'm excited to see you play at this brewery.
Yes, sir.
And I'm really excited to hear about this new album.
Awesome. Nice meeting you. And, thanks for having us here at UNCW.
Of course. And that's the end of the show. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thanks, Logan. Bye.